You have a big job ahead of you, but together you can build a thriving city where people are happy in Cities Skylines, the board game. Thank you for joining me today at Tangermouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. City Skylines is a 1 to 4 player co-op tile laying game that takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. It is published by KOSMOS. It's actually based off of a popular computer game, and they sent us this copy to review. You'll set up the administration board with all the tokens on the zeros. You'll start with some money in the treasury, place out the game boards for the game, and all the tiles too. As a group, you'll decide which board to flip over first and pay the necessary cost. Each player gets a hand of cards from the Stage 1 deck. City Skylines actually has a lot of modules that you can add to the game, but right now I'm just going to talk about the regular course of play. I'll talk about the modules later in the video. On your turn, you'll push one card forward from your display to activate it and pay the cost associated, like resources up or down, and then if you meet the requirement below, you'll get the benefit. Place the associated tile onto the game board. There's lots of different kinds of construction tiles like service buildings and utilities that will help you out a lot, but the cards show you what tile you have to use. There's also the different zones like residential, commercial, and industrial. It's up to you what tile you pick for those. Instead of playing a construction card, you could actually exchange cards by paying $2. Then you would take one of your cards from your display and place it by the appropriate stage. Then you're going to take a new card from stage 1, 2, or 3. You could even take a face-up card if there is one by one of those stages. You can end a milestone if there's at least one tile in each district. You'll gain the start player token. You'll be moving the happiness back for each step the utilities are in the red. You'll transfer the current happiness to the skyline. You'll pay money for each step away from 0 on the employment bar, either above or below. Flip the new game board piece over and pay the cost. You can exchange construction cards for $1 each, and then play continues with the player with a start player marker. The game will continue until you fail by not having enough money. A player can't perform any actions or the happiness gets too low. You'll win, or at least end the game, if you can flip all the game boards face up and have at least 2 tiles in each of the districts. Then you'll do one last milestone and see what your final city's happiness is. The back of the rulebook has a success table from a dying city all the way to a heavenly city. My number one recommendation if you play board games is to actually not play the introductory scenario and play with some of those modules that come with it right away. So let's look at some of the modules that come in this game. The game actually calls them scenarios. You can add unique buildings that are much bigger but can give you amazing benefits. You can add role cards that are distributed at the beginning of the game and give players benefits that can last the whole game. Policy cards don't have you adding tiles to the board, but you can get some needed stuff at the right time. It'll just cost you some money. The news cards are probably the most difficult that give players disadvantages. I would not recommend playing with this module until you're really good at the game. I don't think I've ever played a fully co-op city building game before. I've played games like Between Two Cities, Between Two Castles, where, semi-co-op, you're working with your neighbors. But in this one, everyone is working together to build the best city. Having everyone talk about what kinds of cards in front of them will help you do well, because many of the cards build off of each other. If you can build a bus station first and then build one of these buildings, you can then get a lot of money to help you accomplish other tasks. The first time I played Cities Skylines, I wasn't really sure what to expect, so I actually tried to go after those Stage 2 and Stage 3 construction cards way too early. And it actually hurt us in the long run. You really need to build the Stage 1 cards so that you have a good infrastructure for your city. And then you can build these other ones. But it may be helpful to have one of those Stage 2 or 3 cards earlier so you can have a goal to go after later in the game. Money is super tight in this game. I wish there was just an easier way to get it. And if there was, if money is just a little bit freer, adjust the success table so the points are a little higher or something like that. I just feel like it was just a little too punishing and it wasn't as enjoyable experience as I wanted it to be, that I thought a cooperative city building tile laying game could be. There's a bunch of tips that are added in the rulebook to help you become familiar with the game. Now, the game is not as punishing if you do add some of those modules in. I think that does help a lot. There's definitely a replayability in the game with all the cars and tiles, and the variability probably comes in with arranging those game boards differently. The color scheme works well, and the yellows, blues, and greens pop pretty good as you're playing the game. The tiles are fun to look at with all the different illustrations. If you're looking for a challenging cooperative city tile laying game, then this board game is for you. It's from KOSMOS. Check it out at your friendly local game store. And as always, we would love for you to subscribe to Tantrum House and check out all our other videos coming soon.